Virginia Department of Corrections, Red Onion State Prison. To accept this call, press 0.
This is Randall Via. I'm currently serving 1,214 years for capital murder in Red Onion State Prison in the state of Virginia in the USA. This is my podcast, Red Onion Ranch. I hope you enjoy listening to me. Every country, every society, every community, every household has rules. And prison is no different. You have institutional rules, and then you have prison rules, and then you have the Red Onion Randy rules. Today, I'm going to give you my rules that I live by. I started my rules 20-some years ago. I'll keep adding to them as stuff pops up that's kind of significant to me. Each rule has a story behind it, and obviously I won't be able to give you a story for every single rule because let's see here, there's currently 22 rules that I have that I live by in prison. And every single rule started from number 1. If you're not willing to lose it, it doesn't leave your cell. Now, a very, very long time ago, I can't remember exactly what it was, but I loaned someone a book, and it was a book that I did not want to lose, but I let them read it. So, we popped the tray slots, and you can't do that nowadays because they put a metal strip across the front of the door and a rubber strip on the side of the door. We used to run a string off the side of the door, fish it around in front of the door, run it across the front of the door up until the side that, actually presses up against the wall, and you can take a piece of paper and run the sheet around it. Doesn't take very long, and then you just slide that sheet up both sides of the door, and you put a little slack in it, and you give it a little flick, and you hook it over the tray slot. And the tray slot's got a little lever that you just grab, and you pull it straight up, and then you pull the tray slot out. So we would lift it up, and I'll put my knee up to the slot, push it out, and the other guy would do the same, and then we would have whatever was going to pass in a laundry bag tied to a thick piece of string, and then we would just sit there and swing it around cowboy lasso style, and we would swing it down the tier, and the person would have their arm sticking out, and it would go over top of it, and then they would just grab it and pull it in the cell, get the stuff, or put stuff in it, and then we would pull it back, and then we would just take another little piece of sheet, hook it out on a tray slot, yank it up, slam it shut, and then pull the sheet in. And that's how we used to pass back in the day until they found out about it. And so I let a guy borrow a book of mine, and I can't remember if he got transferred to another pod, transferred to another prison, or if he just bucked on me and refused to give the book back. So that's, I told myself, man, dude, you know what? From this point forward, if you're not willing to lose it, it doesn't leave your cell. And that's where my prison rule started. So number 1, if you're not willing to lose it, it doesn't leave your cell. Number 2, mind your own business. It doesn't matter what somebody else is doing. In prison, you need to keep your curiosity under check at all times because so many dudes have gotten touched up in prison, whether they got their ass beat or they got stabbed up or they got boiling water thrown in their face. So many people in prison, so many fights in prison start because guys don't mind their own business. They got to stick their nose in it. They have to know what's going on. Mind your own business, people. Number 3, don't snitch. I shouldn't even have to tell you why you don't do that. So I'm not going to. Don't snitch, people. Number 4, don't look in anyone's cell. That's a lesson I learned the hard way. That's why it's on the list. I come by one day, I had the houseman job, and I was sweeping. And I wanted to say something to somebody, so I just looked in their window to see what they was doing. Well, what they was doing was sitting on the bed with a pornographic magazine in one hand and masturbating in the other hand. So I got an eye full of something I didn't want to see. And that's why you don't look in somebody's cell. If you got to talk to them, that's fine. You just stand to the side of the door, you reach up, and you knock on their window or the side of the door or the tray slot, wherever, it doesn't matter. And you wait for them to answer. You wait for them to come to the door. You don't look in people's cell because guaranteed you're pretty much going to see something you don't want to see. Number 5, show respect to everyone. Respect goes a long way in life, but especially here in prison where everything is so supercharged emotionally, where you live in a constant state of frustration and anger. Showing respect will help you out in the long run more than anything else in prison will. Number 6, stand your ground and be willing to fight. All right, this is the thing about prison. You are going to get tested. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter how big you are. It doesn't matter your charges. It doesn't matter your gang affiliation. It doesn't matter how mean you look. None of that stuff matters. In prison, you are going to get tested. And when you do, stand your ground and be willing to fight, because if you don't, your life is going to be a living hell for your entire bed. You may think, oh, I'll just put in for a transfer and go to another prison. Yeah, no. Word travels. You may do that, and you may get that transfer, and you may be there for a month or two, but guess what? Either somebody from the prison you were just at is going to be there, or somebody's going to be on the phone talking to somebody there. Word is going to get there, or when you get there, guess what? Somebody's going to try you there. You have to stand your ground. You have to be willing to fight. Even if you know you're going to get your ass beat, take that ass whoop. Because let me tell you something. At least dudes know from that point forward, yeah, I'm going to have to fight this dude. And I'm really not trying to go to SEG. I'm not trying to lose my commissary. I'm not trying to lose my privileges. So most guys are going to leave you alone. As soon as they realize, hey, this dude will fight, you're going to have to put your hands on him. You can't punk him down. Your life would be a lot easier, because most people from that point forward will leave you alone, and everybody in prison gossips. Even I do it. I try my best not to, but sometimes you just can't help yourself. You just get drawn in conversations because somebody else is mentioning it. Off to the races you go. But everybody knows who will go and who won't. And the people who won't, their lives suck. They wind up paying commissary out to people. They can't do what they want to do. I mean, no, I'll take an ass whooping any day. Number 7, don't steal. Now, let me explain something to you people. There is a difference between robbing someone and stealing from someone. In prison, robbery is acceptable. You can rob a person in prison, because to rob someone, you have to go take it from them, meaning they are in their cell when you go in their cell. Yo, look, man, I'm taking this. What you going to do about it? Man, you got a choice. What you going to do about it? In prison, that's some man stuff right there. Now, it's not something I do, and it's not something I'm going to do unless you owe me money and you're refusing to pay it. If you refuse to pay me, believe me, I'm going to get paid one way or the other, because I have a reputation, and I'm not going to let somebody treat me that way. You're never going to walk all over top of me. I won't allow it. But that's one reason why I don't loan people stuff. If somebody comes and asks me for something, and if I have it and I can spare it, I'll just say, here, man, you can have this. Because I'm not going to put myself in a position to where they owe me something, and then they can't pay me for whatever reason, then I'm obligated. I have no choice. I have to go do something. So because I know that about myself, I don't loan anything to anybody anymore. I either give it to them, or I just tell them, man, I'm sorry, I can't help you. Stealing. Stealing is when a person does something when somebody's not in their cell. They'll walk by and just scoop something up or whatnot. That's a coward. That's a stone cold bitch. Don't steal. There's no respect behind that at all. Number 8, never go through your cellie's property. If you have a cellmate, stay out of his stuff. You don't need to be in his property. You don't need to know what he has. You don't need to know that stuff, because I tell you right now, there are guys in prison. If they come back from visitation or medical or wherever they happen to be at, and they come in and they notice that you've gone through their stuff, and some guys set little traps and stuff just to check to see what kind of dude their cellie is. They'll put a piece of string in a certain place, and they'll come back and they'll look at it. If that string is missing or it's not in the place it was, Your life is forfeit. There are guys who will literally kill you over that. There are guys who will beat you half to death over that. Don't ever go through your celly stuff. It's not worth it. Even if you need something and you know your celly would be cool with giving it to you, you wait till he comes back and then you ask him. Number 9, if you borrow something from someone, show respect by giving them something small from commissary. My player, my JP5 player is broken. It doesn't work. I've done everything I can, and as a matter of fact, it got confiscated yesterday during a shakedown. Because I drilled a hole in the back so I could unplug the battery and, try to plug a new battery in to see if it would work so I can, replace it, but it wouldn't work, so I lost it. So about a week ago, I borrowed another guy's player so I could listen to a little bit of music. And the next day, I came out and I gave him some commissary because he allowed me to use his player. Always show respect. If you borrow something from someone, show respect and give them something small. It doesn't have to be a big item, and I can't even remember what it was I gave him, but I gave him something, and it was small and it was insignificant to me. But that's what you do. You show respect. Number 10, never gamble. Look, in prison, you're gonna have a hard enough time as it is getting people to send you money without just simply giving it away to somebody because you don't know what you're doing gambling. There's a reason it's called a gamble, because you lose more than you win. If you won more than you lost, it would be called winning, not gambling. I know that's an old cliche, but still, it applies. A lot of fights and a lot of stabbings happen over gambling. A lot of guys have to, they'll go out there and they'll play poker, gamble on football games, play the pools, whatnot. Yeah, it may make the games, more exciting or whatnot. It may alleviate some boredom for you. But when you run up a debt and you start chasing, and everybody eventually starts chasing, you can't pay because you don't have the money to pay. And then you have to check in. You have to go to the lieutenant and tell him, look, man, I ran up a debt, man. I can't pay it. They gonna kill me in it. And yeah, they are. That's not a joke, people. And then your reputation is shot. From that point forward, everybody who meets you, you're a bitch to them. You'll never live that down. Ever. You can come back 3 weeks later and then come in and say, hey, man, I got your money, man. I'm going to pay you. Dude, here it is right here. It don't matter. They're going to take that money and then they're going to bitch you down because you ran. You didn't pay. You wasn't a man. You didn't stand up and pay your debt when you said you was going to. Never gamble. Causes way too many problems. Number 11, pay off debts. Sometimes in here, you have to borrow stuff. For example, just because you order commissary doesn't mean it always comes. And sometimes you'll get half your order and not the other half. So you may have ordered a tube of toothpaste and you run out, but you didn't get the tube of toothpaste that you ordered. So you have to go to somebody else who has extra and say, look, man, dude, I didn't get my toothpaste from the store, man. Can you loan me one and I'll pay you back? I'm like, yeah, man, sure, go ahead. Pay all debts. No matter what, pay all debts. Number 12, be extremely careful who you discuss religion, race, or politics with. You want to get into a fight? That's a damn good way to do it. Talk to somebody that you don't know, that you're not comfortable with about religion, race, or politics with them. I guarantee you'll be fighting within 5 freaking minutes. That's just the way it is in here, because those are hot button issues. Because if a person doesn't agree with you, that's where the friction arises, because they want to get their point across to you. You want to get your point across to them. And usually, voices get heated. Voices start to rise and get loud because, you can't believe in your mind, you can't believe that this dude just cannot see what you see. Like, how is this possible? Like, a freaking child can understand your point of view, but yet he doesn't. And that's one reason why I rarely ever will discuss religion, race, or politics with anyone, whether they're on the street, in prison, or with myself. It's just not worth the hassle. Number 13, trust no one. Look, people can talk a big game in here. Don't trust them. Once you start spending years around a person, you'll have a very good understanding of their attitude, of their character, whether they can be trusted to a certain extent or not. But never ever in prison put your full, complete trust in anyone, because you never truly know. Number 14, learn everything you can. I cannot begin to tell you how many times I have talked to a person who thought they were the smartest people in the world and they were the dumbest idiots I've ever ran across. Don't be that person. Always learn. There's always something to learn, even if it's just simply learning what not to do. And in prison, let me tell you something. It is better to learn what not to do than it is to learn what to do. Because when you learn what not to do, you're not going to make the mistakes that so many people in here make. So sit back, watch, and learn everything you can. Pick up a book. Watch educational programs. Yeah, they might not be your bread and butter. They might not be your chosen form of entertainment. But learn everything you can. Because while you're learning everything you can, you're improving yourself. You're making your life better. And that will allow you to make other people's lives better and to pass it on, to make other people better. That is a rule that I learned very late in life, and I wish to God I would have been able to learn it in my early teens, because my life would not have been what it was if I would have learned that lesson. Number 15, never argue. Just walk away. When you're talking to someone in here and things start to get a little heated, the other guy starts to get a little loud, like, yo, look, man, you know what? I ain't for this. I'm going to walk away for a little while. Because let me tell you something. When you argue in here, guess what? Other people get pulled into it. Other people start watching. Other people are looking to see what happens because they want to see a fight here. Everybody in here likes to watch people fight. It's entertainment. When two dudes start to arguing, when people start watching, the people that argue know people are watching because they know, all right, damn, now I got to show up. Now I got to do this. I can't back down, man, because they going to think I'm a punk. And that leads to fights. That leads to stabbings. That leads to you doing something that you really didn't want to do. Like you had no intention of doing this. But because you allowed yourself to get into an argument with someone, peer pressure from everybody else in the pod watching.
You have 1 minute remaining.
We're running out of time, so I'm just going to read the rest of them to you. They're pretty much self-explanatory. Number 16, practice positive self-talk. Number 17, act like you have some sense. 18, work out 6 days a week. 19, when you have money, buy what you need before buying what you want. Number 20, be teachable. Number 21, keep your opinion to yourself. Nobody cares, people. 22, respond, do not react. Sorry that I ran out of time. This has been Red Onion Randy. I hope you enjoyed listening to me. For those of you listening to me on Apple Podcasts, I would appreciate if you would review me and rate me. Whatever you think I'm worth, but preferably 5 stars. Take care. Stay safe.
Thank you for using GTL.